If social media is your financial teacher, wealth often looks like luxury cars, explosive investment gains, and overnight success stories. Yet people who quietly build wealth over decades often have financial lives that look surprisingly ordinary. They are rarely chasing every new trend because long-term compounding usually rewards consistency more than excitement. From the outside, many financially successful people appear almost too average to fit the popular image of success. While others try to look wealthy today, patient savers often become wealthier year after year without attracting attention. The habits that reduce risk and support long-term wealth are usually too boring to become viral content. Welcome to The Margin, where we explore money, financial psychology, and the hidden math behind everyday economic life. Today, we will uncover 7 surprisingly boring money habits that quietly drive most long-term wealth creation. The first wealth-building habit is surprisingly boring: saving money before spending it. Most people wait until month-end to save, but by then the money has usually found somewhere else to go. Wealth builders reverse the order by moving money aside before anything else happens. The goal is not perfect discipline, but creating a system that works even on unmotivated days. Automated saving and investing reduce decision fatigue while supporting long-term compounding. There is nothing exciting about the process, which is exactly why many people overlook it. A simple automatic transfer running every month can quietly accomplish more than constant financial tinkering. Wealth often grows more effectively when emotions and short-term volatility stay out of the way. Fewer financial decisions usually create fewer opportunities to abandon a long-term plan. In personal finance, steady consistency usually outperforms occasional bursts of enthusiasm. The second habit sounds simple: consistently spending less than you earn. In a culture built around constant consumption, this habit quietly becomes uncommon. For many people, every raise quickly turns into a more expensive lifestyle. This pattern is called lifestyle inflation, and it often happens without much notice. Wealthy people often do something unpopular by keeping part of their income growth invisible. They do not redesign their entire lives every time their salary increases. Over time, their financial margin widens, and margin creates options. More options create flexibility, and flexibility often creates peace of mind. Wealth is not only about the money coming in, but also the money that stays. And for many people, that process begins by living slightly below their means. The third habit is surprisingly simple: choosing what works well instead of what looks impressive. Modern consumer culture often treats higher prices as proof of higher value, even when the math says otherwise. Many people buy things to signal success, while wealth builders focus on whether those things reliably serve a purpose. Cars provide a useful example because many new vehicles experience an immediate loss in value after purchase. That is why financially stable people are often comfortable driving dependable vehicles that simply do their job. In many cases, they could afford something more expensive, but they do not see enough value in making the upgrade. They understand that every dollar has a job, and social approval is rarely the highest priority. Money not spent on looking wealthy can often support long-term goals through time and compounding. The difference may feel small today, but small decisions often shape outcomes across decades. From the outside, this habit can look boring, but its long-term impact is often difficult to ignore. Habit number 4 has less to do with math and more to do with understanding how your mind makes spending decisions. Most money problems begin long before the checkout screen because spending habits are usually formed inside the mind first. A common mistake is treating every strong desire like a necessity, even when the two serve very different purposes. Wants often feel urgent, while genuine needs usually remain clear even after the excitement fades. People who build wealth tend to pause before acting on a purchase because time often improves decision quality. After a few days, many purchases lose their appeal, revealing that the desire was temporary rather than important. The goal is not extreme frugality, but understanding which expenses genuinely improve your everyday life. Not every purchase creates the same level of satisfaction even when the price tags look similar. Some purchases deliver only a brief dopamine hit that disappears almost as quickly as it arrives. A thoughtful decision may never feel exciting, but it can create stability and peace of mind for years. The fifth habit is surprisingly simple: being comfortable with not joining every trend that passes by. Every year brings another wave of products, ideas, and lifestyles claiming to improve your life. The pressure often comes from the belief that newer automatically means better, whether it's technology, fashion, or investing. Many trends succeed because they quietly convince people that staying still means falling behind. People who are financially calm understand that owning everything is never the goal. They do not measure success by how quickly they adopt every new change around them. Instead, they ask a more useful question: does this genuinely improve my daily life over the long term? If the answer is no, they simply move on without spending more attention, money, or energy. There is nothing dramatic or exciting about this habit, which is exactly why it is often overlooked. Freedom often comes from the ability to stop chasing everything and focus on what already matters. Habit number 6 is protecting your margin before chasing higher returns or taking more risk. Many people focus on aggressive investing while overlooking the systems that make long-term investing sustainable. An emergency fund looks boring because nothing exciting happens when it quietly does its job. That quiet account often prevents emotional decisions when life suddenly becomes unpredictable. Whether it is a car repair, job loss, or surprise bill, margin gives you time to respond instead of react. Without margin, even a small financial setback can feel larger than it really is. With margin, the challenge remains real, but the urgency and volatility feel much lower. The mental clarity created by financial resilience is often worth more than a few extra percentage points of return. The first purpose of money is not maximizing wealth but reducing the impact of life's inevitable surprises. Before money can help you grow, it must first help protect your future from unnecessary drawdowns. The final habit is often the hardest because it asks you to keep going when nothing exciting seems to be happening. Staying invested through a quiet period can feel uncomfortable because progress rarely looks dramatic in real life. Most people enjoy starting a new financial plan, but far fewer enjoy repeating it month after month. The middle of the journey feels boring because meaningful change rarely arrives on a weekly schedule. Savings, investing, and long-term compounding often grow so gradually that the changes are easy to overlook. This quiet stretch is where many people quit because the effort feels larger than the visible reward. People often search for a new strategy when the real challenge is simply maintaining patience through volatility and time. The people who build wealth over decades are not always smarter. They often stay committed longer. Long-term compounding rewards those who remain invested through years of ordinary and uneventful progress. Compounding looks boring for years, but eventually the results become impossible to ignore. If this video has one lesson, it is that wealth usually comes from ordinary behaviors repeated long enough to matter. Most financial progress is not created by dramatic decisions, but by small choices made during ordinary weeks. Over a long time horizon, consistency often matters more than intelligence, luck, or perfect timing. The problem is that steady habits rarely look exciting in a world that rewards attention and volatility. Your future is shaped less by what goes viral and more by what you repeat when nobody is watching. Many extraordinary outcomes begin as boring routines that almost nobody notices at the start. At the margin, we focus on the human side of money, work, risk, and the systems that shape everyday life. Of these 7 habits, which one feels most difficult to maintain consistently in your own life?